Hey, it's that card girl. Today we're going to be going over One Piece card games ST15, which is the red Edward Newgate starter deck. I'd like to take a moment to welcome everybody to this channel. This is the first in a series of videos. We're going to be going over the One Piece starter decks and discussing some upgrades you can do to them. Now, once you have the box open, yep, good job, you get to see the lovely inside, which is, drumroll please, your starter deck nestled nicely on top of a PRB01 premium booster pack. So you get the nice joy of ripping a pack after you rip the plastic off your deck. And so you have your leaders sitting on top with your Dawn on the bottom. Let's just take half a moment here to appreciate that pack. Alright, we're going to open that later, so let's set it aside. The pre-made deck that comes in ST15 is going to start off with, of course, our leader, who has 6 life. Nice shiny card. And then you're going to have 2 copies of the 7 cost 8k power Edward Newgate, followed by 2 copies of the 5 cost 6k power Ace card, 4 copies of the 4 cost 5k power 1k counter Atmos cards, 4 copies of the 3 cost 4k power 1k counter Kingdu cards, 2 of the 1 cost 2k power 2k, oh, careful, his sword sharp. That's the 1 cost 2k power 2k counter Thatch card, followed by 4 cost 4k power 2k counter Jozu cards, 4 cost 5k power 1k counter Marco cards, 4 3 cost 4k power 1k counter Raikou cards, and then you get 4 copies of You May Be a Fool, But I Still Love You event cards, 4 1 cost 2k power 1k counter Izu cards, 4 cost 6k power 1k counter Speed Joe cards, 4 3 cost 5k power 1k counter Numul cards, 4 2 cost 3k power 1k counter Haruta cards, 4 2 cost 2k power 1k counter Fossa cards, and then your 10 Dawn. So starting with our leader, Edward Newgate, he has 6 life and 6,000 power for attack, and his effect is that at the end of your turn you're going to add 1 card from the top of your life cards to your hands. Now, don't worry about the fact that your leader costs you life. There's a few cards for this deck that block your leader's effect. And on top of that, as far as red decks go, life is just currency. Red uses life to get stuff and believes more in getting your cards in your hand so you can play them. Then we have Atmos, which is 4 cost, 5,000 power, 1,000 counter, and whenever you're attacking, if your leader is Edward Newgate, you cannot add lifeguards to your hand using your own effects during this turn. And You May Be a Fool, But I Still Love You is 1 cost, and its main effect is if you have 3 or less life cards, you cannot add life cards to your hand using your own effects during this turn. And if you pull it as a trigger, up to one of your leaders gains 1,000 power during this turn. Both Atmos and You May Be a Fool, But I Still Love You will stop your leader's effect. However, they do also stop Thatch's effect. So let's move on to what Thatch does. He's 1 cost, 2,000 power, 2,000 counter, with an on play of if your leader type includes Whitebeard Pirates, you give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn, and then add one card from the top of your life cards to your hand. Moving on, we have Ezo, 1 cost, 2k power, 1k counter, with the on play of looking at the 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 card with a type including Whitebeard Pirates other than Ezo and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order, so a nice 1 cost searcher card. Then Jozu, 4 cost, 4k, 2k counter. For 1 Dawn, if you have 2 or less life cards and your leader's type includes Whitebeard Pirates, this character gains Rush, allowing it to attack on the turn it's played. So a nice card with 2k counter that gets Rush when you're low on life. And then Ace, who is a nice sticky rush card, 5 cost, 6k attack, 1k counter. If your leader's type includes Whitebeard Pirates, this character gains Rush, and once per turn, if this character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may give this character minus 2,000 power during this turn instead, turning it into a 4k card. Then we have Marco, 4 cost, 5k attack, 1k counter, who is a blocker, making it to where after your opponent clears an attack, you can rest the card to make it the new target of the attack. And on KO, you may trash 1 card with a type including Whitebeard Pirates from your hand, and if you have 2 or less life cards, you play this character card from your trash rested. So a nice sticky blocker. We have Fossa, who is just a 2 cost blocker. King Du, who is a 3 cost blocker, and on the opponent's turn, when this character is KO'd by an effect, up to one of your leaders gains 2,000 power during the turn. So the blocker buffs your leader when it dies, which helps you ward off another swing from your opponent. Then we have the basic cards of Speed Jill, just a 4 cost, 6,000 power, and Numul, 3 cost, 5k power. Moving on, Rakuyo, 3 cost, 4k attack. For 1 Dawn on your turn, all of your characters with a type, including Whitebeard Pirates, gain plus 1,000 power. So you get to buff your whole team for a single Dawn. Haruta, 2 cost, 3k power, 1k counter, with activate main once per turn. Give up to 1 rested Dawn cards to the leader or one of your characters. Lastly included in the deck, you have Edward Newgate, 7 cost, 8,000 power, and on play, give up to 1 rested Dawn card to your leader or one of your characters. And activate main, you may rest this character and KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 5,000 power or less. So let's talk about some cards that are great for upgrading this deck. So we'll start with the 3 big bodies with big effects. Edward Newgate from OPO2 with 9 cost, 10k power, with the on-play effect of up to one of your leaders gains plus 2,000 power till the start of your next turn. Then you cannot add life cards to your hand using your own effects during this turn. And for 2 Dawn, when attacking, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less. You have Silver's Raleigh from OPO8, 8 cost, 8k power, with the on-play of select up to 2 of your opponent's characters and give one character minus 3,000 power and the other minus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn, and then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less. And then Ace from OPO2, 7 cost, 7k, with the on play of give up to your opponent's characters minus 3,000 power during this turn. Then if your leader's type includes Whitebeard Pirates, this character gains Rush during the turn, letting it attack on the turn it was played. Marco from OP03 is pretty much an upgrade of the Marco that comes with the deck, and now he sticks. For 5 costs, 6k power on your turn on play, you KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less, and on KO you can trash one event card from your hand and play this character, Marco, from your trash rested. Little Oars Jr., 6 cost, 7k power, 1k counter, and once per turn, if this character would be KO'd by an effect, you can trash one event or stage card from your hand instead. So another nice sticky boy that just costs an event. So let's move on to some event cards you can upgrade your deck with. There's Crossfire from OP03. 2 costs, and the main and counter it can do is if your leader's type includes Whitebeard Pirates, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 4,000 power during this turn, with a trigger activating the card's main effect. Fire Fist from OP03, 3 cost, with the main effect of you may trash one event card from your hand, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 5,000 power or less, and up to one of your opponent's characters with 4k power or less. The trigger for this one, you KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 5,000 power or less. Whitebeard Pirates event from OP02, 1 cost, with the main effect of look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 character card with the type including Whitebeard Pirates, and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order, and the trigger activates the card's main effect. Bad Manners Kick Course from OP04. It's a no-cost event that's a counter where you may trash 1 card from your hand, and up to one of your leader character cards gains plus 3,000 power during this battle. The trigger gives up to one of your opponent's leaders or character cards minus 3,000 power during this turn. Then we have I'd Never Shoot You from OP08, a 2-cost event counter. Up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 4,000 power during this battle. Then give up to one of your opponent's leader or character cards minus 1,000 power during this turn. The trigger for this card is up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 1,000 power during this turn. Meteor Strike of Love from OP06, a 2-cost event with a main counter of you may add 1 card from the top of your life cards to your hand. Up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 3,000 power during this turn. Radical Beam from OP01, a 1-cost event counter. Up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 2,000 power during this battle. Then, if you have 2 or less life cards, that card gains an additional plus 2,000 power. The trigger is up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 1,000 power during this turn. Then you have Vista from OP02, 3 cost, 3,000 power, 1k counter, with an on play of KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less. So a cheaper version of the same KO that the non-leader Edward that comes with this deck has. You have Kid Killer from EB01, 4 cost, 5k power, rush, letting it attack the turn it's played. And when attacking, if your opponent has 2 or less life cards, this character gains plus 2,000 power during this turn. A nice rush effect that gets stronger when your opponent's been weakened. Otama from OP01, a 1-cost character that has no power but is a 2k counter, and on play you give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during the turn. So it pairs nicely with Kid Killer's effect. Alright, so that's about it for ST15, the red Edward Newgate deck. What you add in and what you take out is of course up to you, but remember 60 card decks, not counting your leader and Dawn cards, with no more than 4 of each card number. Now, for the moment we've been waiting for, let's rip that pack and see those pulls. Keep an eye on the channel. Later this week we're going to be going over ST16, which is the green Uta deck. And like I mentioned at the beginning, this is an ongoing series checking out and upgrading the One Piece starter decks. We also have some upcoming Lorcana and Pokemon videos. Make sure to like, subscribe, tell your neighbors, shout it from the rooftops. Ooh, nice Rebecca Dawn there. That car girl out.